So thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. My name is Sonia Siddiqui and joining us again is Khadija Qureshi. She's back with popular demand. She is our LinkedIn expert and she's been running amazing, very informative LinkedIn webinars with us. So before I hand it over to her, just want to make sure that everyone is properly connected. So please note that we will not be able to hear you, but we will take your questions towards the end of the presentation. So please hold your questions and then Khatija will answer your questions. For that, please type them into the Q&A tab. And for best results, please use a laptop or a desktop computer using Google Chrome as your browser. And if you are using mobile devices such as cell phones or tablets, I recommend downloading the Zoom app. It's great, very easy to use. And there will be a survey at the end of the webinar. Please do fill it out. Let us know how we did and how we can make our future webinars even better for you. Just to tell you a little bit about ACCESS, we've been around for over 30 years helping job seekers such as yourselves. We have a relationship with over 2,200 employer connections, and a lot of them are our partners, community partners, sponsors, and a lot of our employer connections will hire from our bridging programs as well, which is we have over 30 tailored programs, which include our bridging programs and sector-specific pre-arrival programs as well. We've got with our newest location in New Market. And right now our current location is online. So online services is we are virtually serving all of our clients. Everyone is working 9 to 5, business as usual. And the only difference is it's all virtual. So give us a call your closest ACCESS location and get in touch with someone and they can help you out with your job search. Khadija, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sonia. It's great to be back. And as we are closing 2020, it's always great to empower my newcomers to Canada audience and pre-arrival immigrant audience with LinkedIn opportunity, and more so now because everything is happening virtually. And LinkedIn is by far an undisputed marketplace for professionals to hop on with their professional goals. And as newcomers to Canada and pre-arrival immigrants, our first professional goal here in Canada is first job here in this new home. So I will be telling you around today about how to use LinkedIn to connect with the right connections, have job leads, and just better opportunities, basically. So introducing myself, I'm Khatija. I am an online LinkedIn trainer for newcomers to Canada job seekers and transitional job seekers. Over and above, I do run my own business as a social media consultant, serving small businesses entrepreneurs. Can we have next slide, please? So this is about me. So I think so we can skip this, go to the next slide. Okay, so what are the learning outcomes of today's presentation? You'll be learning why LinkedIn is the right platforms for you to explore for better opportunities. You will be learning about LinkedIn etiquettes, what are the yes and what are the no-nos, how to attract opportunity in a sustainable way in Canadian professional environment. I'll be telling you about my 3-step approach. Over and above, I'll be ending with some of the best practices of LinkedIn profile. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, I always start my presentations with the mindset perspective, because when you reframe your mindset in the right way, you approach your efforts with more motivation. So when it comes to any effort that you take, any life effort that you take towards your life goal, if you are not able to hear what the other side, with what your audience is saying, or what your audience pain points or challenges are, you will not be able to attract their attention. You will be unheard, you will be ignored. So similarly goes for LinkedIn as well. When you hop on LinkedIn as a professional with the professional goals, you need to make sure that you understand your audience. And as a job job seeker, your audience is basically the hiring managers, the recruiters. So you need to understand what are their pain points, what are their challenges, how you can attract their attention so that you are heard. So be empathetic towards your LinkedIn branding efforts. Otherwise, if you don't have that mindset of hearing things, uh, I'm sure you will be ignored and rejected. So just a heads up there. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so why LinkedIn? That's the first stop. Why LinkedIn? Okay, recently, just now, in at the end of October, LinkedIn released its figures. The numbers have increased from 706 million professional members on LinkedIn in August to 722 in October. So in less than 3 months, you can see the number change from 706 to 722. So like numbers are speaking themselves that professionals are networking and they are active on LinkedIn. And when we talk about Canada, there are 17 million plus professionals in Canada on LinkedIn. So so the numbers are speaking. LinkedIn is the right platform for you to get active and connect and nurture relationship with the right people. Over and above, right now the number of people creating posts like the LinkedIn posts have increased from 1% to 3 to 5%. And people are like even passive post viewers, like people who just come on LinkedIn to just scroll through and learn and just see what is happening. uh, that is now 47% during this COVID situation. So what I'm trying to say, through these numbers, we know that professionals are coming on LinkedIn. They are consuming, learning from LinkedIn, and they are also interacting with people through their post on LinkedIn. So this is the right platform that every newcomer to Canada and pre-arrival immigrant needs to be on, because in Canada, LinkedIn works when it comes to putting that first step into the corporate world. And also, these are LinkedIn figures that every connection made on LinkedIn introduces you to an average of 400 new people. There are 300 million companies. It is a top choice of business to business and professional targeting. And definitely LinkedIn goes beyond job search board, basically. And LinkedIn is the tool which recruiters and hiring managers use to tap the talent in that 80% of hidden job market where recruiters just go and hunt for talent based on their profile. And also in 20% of published job market, recruiters and hiring managers go to see your LinkedIn presence, where you can literally stand out in a pack of resumes. So LinkedIn is just an undisputed marketplace, which I say to every newcomer to please do it right. It is an opportunity, so do it right. It might not have been LinkedIn might not have been a marketing tool back in origin country, but here in Canada, as a job seeker or as a professional who has a professional goal, your presence on LinkedIn can make you stand out in a pack of competitive resumes. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, now this is I have literally infused in latest information. This is an article which I came across from Tomer Cohen, and he's talking about how LinkedIn is helping millions of people to get back to work. And the numbers he has put up that because of COVID-19, people who have people to expected to leave, more than 140 million are people expected to leave the work, and another 1.6 million are at the risk of income loss. So these are very gloomy numbers, but in this gloomy numbers, there is a ray of hope, which is LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn should not be used independently. It should be used with array of other marketing tool, which is of course your resume, networking, your interviewing techniques. LinkedIn is just one piece of big job search apple pie, but you need to do it right. In this gloomy world of job loss and risk of income loss, LinkedIn is coming up with a lot of resources. And you can see I've highlighted that in terms of numbers, nearly 40 million people each week are basically coming on LinkedIn. It's a record number that people are coming on LinkedIn for job search. And despite challenging job market, 3 people are getting hired on LinkedIn every minute, because recruiters use LinkedIn as a tool to hunt for talent in that 80% of hidden job market. So you need to up your game on LinkedIn. Can we have next slide, please? Okay. As I'm telling, that LinkedIn is, it's literally up leveling its game to help job seekers. So they have literally launched this tool, which is Career Explorer, and I have left the website. This is a tool which they are allowing a job seeker to explore if they are thinking of transitioning their job. Like, there are a lot of jobs which have gone out of market, and there are a lot of jobs which have come into market because of the COVID consumer behavior change. So basically, this Career Explorer tool allows you to type in your current job title. Let's say I have written social media coordinator. So what it will do, it will say that these are your current skill set, and these current skill set matches with these new emerging job which are where the demand is high. So basically what they're doing, they're trying to match your current skill set with the skill set of emerging career titles. So like, for example, I have written career social media coordinator. So they have put up my skill sets, that skill set that I have, and they are recommending me the job titles which basically matches my current skill sets. So for example, copywriter, and there were other job titles, and they are also telling me that there are opportunities for it. Over and above, they're telling me that what are the connections who can help me through my journey of transitioning from this job title to the emerging job title. So basically, I feel that this is a very good tool which newcomers to Canada can use to identify that what job titles they can explore here in Canada by marrying their transferable skills uh, in the local environment. So I highly recommend go and explore this. This tool is right now in beta testing phase, and new features will be coming on it. But I feel that this tool can really help newcomers to Canada to understand what are the skills required in a job title that you might be having in your origin country, and probably what skill set you can use to market yourself in Canadian space. So do go and explore this tool, Career Explorer. I've left the website here. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so as I said, I always talk about LinkedIn mindset, and one of the LinkedIn mindset is that it's not a normal, casual family and friend social media network. It is not Facebook, it is not Instagram. Instagram and Facebook and other social media networks are basically used to connect family and friends. And when we talk about family and friends, we can express our casual self. So if you're talking about picture, if you're talking about, let's say, topic donut, so I can talk about that this is my favorite donut, and I can take a very casual selfie just the way you're seeing this slide. Can we have next slide, please? But when we are talking about the title, the topic donut, it needs to have a professional goal with a professional mindset. So if I'm talking coming on LinkedIn, it needs to have a professional goal related to donuts. So I can talk about that I want to operate a donut franchise. I'm looking for a job in a donut company. I have this much of experience making donut. These are top donut production is my top skills. And these are 3 recommendations from my former donut colleagues. So what I'm saying that the title is the same, but how you are changing the content topics based on just one thing on Facebook versus LinkedIn. So whenever you come into LinkedIn space, make sure that you're behaving, you're engaging, and you are talking the way you would do it in a professional and work setting environment. So this is again enter on LinkedIn world with intentional mindset. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so one of the major thing, and I told you that when in the learning outcomes as well, that I'll be teaching you how you should what your approach should be to be successful on LinkedIn as a newcomer to Canada. You need to learn the laws of the land. Of course, just like you are migrating to Canada, and probably at a pre-arrival stage, you have already started learning about Canadian culture, what Canadian job market offers. Exactly like this, when you're hopping onto the LinkedIn social media world, you need to understand what are LinkedIn etiquettes, what are the do's and the don'ts which will work with North American audience, because the cultural there is a major cultural difference of North American workplace culture than your origin country culture. I'm not saying something, I'm just saying that what might have worked in your origin country might not work here, and what worked here might not work in your origin country. So what I'm saying is that in any new environment, you need to learn about it, local etiquettes and local yes and no's. So when you enter into LinkedIn world, these are under the carpet etiquettes which every North American LinkedIner expects you to have. First is that you're entering LinkedIn not for perfection. Progress is more important than perfection. You have to reflect the real professional you. Um, you cannot fake things. People right now can pick up if you're faking something through content, or if you're borrowing something from someone. So you are here on LinkedIn for progress rather than perfection. And this specifically applies when when you are creating content. You don't have to hold yourself back to have a perfect image or a perfect text. I will talk about it later in the slides. Second is that you are not on LinkedIn for numbers. You are here to create sustainable relations and connection. You are here to learn. You are here to create a thought leadership brand. Whatever your professional goals are, you are here not for likes, number of engagements. Of course, that becomes that might be important for some things, but that is not an ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is sustainable brand building of your name as a professional. You are not on LinkedIn to impress people. You are here to create a professional impact. Impressing is different from creating a professional impact. You want to create an impact in the life of your audience, that you are here to help them solve their pain points, and that should be your focus when you're coming on LinkedIn. Also, it's not about you. When you are talking on LinkedIn, it's all about giving value to your audience. It's about how you can help them solve their pain and points. So these are some of the LinkedIn mindset that I was like, which I call value mindsets, that you are coming on LinkedIn to just give to your audience, and once you give to your audience, they will be willing to give back to you. So just a heads up on this. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so when I was talking about the LinkedIn etiquettes, recently, LinkedIn, just day before yesterday, LinkedIn news editor Andrew published a newsletter targeting towards the job seekers. And he's currently talking about that in the job market, North American job market, you have to build up your brand. You have to up level your game to compete with other job seekers, and that can only happen when you have LinkedIn branding. Like for example, I have created a brand of myself as a social media strategist and as an online LinkedIn trainer for newcomers to Canada job seeker. So my advice was featured in this newsletter, where I'm talking about the value mindset, which I just talked, and quote unquote, I said that having a value mindset is really important. What is a value mindset? You give value through your post to empower your ideal company by sharing your expertise. You talk about your experiences, and don't hold yourself back that my advice will be the same as another. Like, I'm a social media strategist, I hold myself back. Okay, whatever I write, another social media strategist will be saying the same thing. No, my perspectives are unique based on my professional experience. So you have a unique perspective that nobody has. Your advice through that post can help your ideal company solve their challenges. In that way, you will be attracting industry specific professionals. So as a job seeker, creating content is a great way to sell yourself as a brand to your employers. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, again, coming back to the LinkedIn etiquettes, talking about that value mindset, when you're connecting with people, please don't ask for anything. Specifically, one of the major mistakes I see newcomers to Canada making is that they immediately get into, when they send a connection request, they say that, can you please review my LinkedIn profile? Can you please connect me to people? Can you please review my resume? These are big asks when you're approaching Canadian professionals. So please remember that when a stranger knocks your door and asks for something, will you give him or her something? No, you wouldn't. You would want to know him first. So you are a stranger knocking someone's door when you're sending that connection request. So please don't ask for give me a job or any salesy messages, because you are ending your relationship before even it begins. So try to earn the trust first, and that can so happen when you e-converse with the LinkedIn human through comment communication, through their post, by adding a lot of value, by going and engaging with their activity on LinkedIn. So this is just again a heads up on the value mindset so that you are not ignored. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, now I'm coming to the last part of my presentation, how you can be successful for better opportunities. And this is roadmap is highly likable and acceptable by Canadian professionals. The probability of you getting the return of your LinkedIn efforts will be high if you follow this roadmap. Now, this roadmap I've crafted myself after 3 years of being on LinkedIn and connecting with so many industry specific professionals, which results in me earning referral to get leads for my businesses. First thing is that you need to have a great LinkedIn home, which is your LinkedIn profile by your name. You have to beef up all 10 plus sections, which tells one story. Your about us section needs to be an executive summary, what you are writing in your work experience section, what your recommendations are saying. It needs to be like literally professional storytelling, where you weave in all your 10 plus sections to say one thing. Have a goal that, for example, as Khatija Qureshi, as a brand, I want to be remembered as an empathetic online trainer for newcomers to Canada. I want to be remembered as a detailed oriented social media strategist for small businesses entrepreneurs. So if you go on to my LinkedIn profile, it says the same story. Second is that once your LinkedIn home is ready, start creating content, which are the posts intentionally. Again, there are steps into it. I cannot go much in detail in this presentation, but start creating content which if any reader comes, they will say, okay, Khatija knows the craft of LinkedIn. Khatija knows the craft of social media strategy. And you can sell yourself through your content. And I just give you the reference of Andrew, LinkedIn newsletter. He is saying the same thing. Third, then start connecting with the right intentional people. Don't connect with 1,000 people. Just connect with quality 10 industry specific professionals in over a period of 2 to 3 months and nurture relationship. There is a difference between connecting and nurturing relationships. Can we have next slide, please? So this is the step one. Basically, this is your LinkedIn profile. I'll just touch base with some of the best practices. For details, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I create content around that, and I am doing a LinkedIn live on Thursday on this as well. So for some of the best practices is make sure that your profile picture is in public setting. Otherwise, if you do not do it in a public setting, this will be a no person icon like this. Second thing is that your background header, use this real estate to sell yourself, what expertise you bring on the table. So you can customize it using tools like Canva and Trello. Can we have next slide, please? Also, please use your headlines just the way Michelle has used her headline, explaining what she brings on the table. Don't use your headline to write that I'm open to new opportunities, I'm looking for jobs. And this is one of the mistakes I'm seeing newcomers to Canada doing that. Use your headline, that 120 characters. LinkedIn is in the process of increasing 120 characters to 220 characters. So use headlines to sell yourself. Use keywords related to your job title here. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, also just below your headline, there is an About Us section. Now in the About Us section, again, this is an underutilized tool of LinkedIn profile. there are 2000 characters that you can use to literally sell yourself. So basically how recruiter experience go, if anybody lands onto your profile, they will see your tagline, they will go immediately to your about us summary, and if you're not able to sell yourself, they will never scroll down to your work experience. So sell yourself in about us summary, and I'm leaving you with my about us summary, and you can take inspiration from here. Can we have next slide, please? Again, it's a continuation of my about us summary. You can come back to the recording, stop, and read what I have written. Can we have next slide, please? One of, I'm just sharing some of the best practices. The recommendation sections in Canadian market is really crucial. It is the last nail that you need to beat up in your job search strategy for pulling that recruiter to send you the in-mail. So please, please, please go back to your yesterday bosses, colleagues to give you recommendations on your expertise, on your technical skills. Recommendation section is really crucial for Canadian employer and hiring managers. So please ask your yesterday bosses to give you recommendations. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so this was step one, that you are beefing up your LinkedIn home, which is your LinkedIn profile. Step two is that you start creating content. By content, I mean writing posts and articles. Posts is a short form of content. It's just 1300 characters. Articles, you can write big form of. So for example, you can see the snapshot. There is one LinkedIn live that I'm doing where I'm talking about 4 things to make yourself sellable to Canadian employers. I'm talking about trending content. I'm talking about how to write stellar connection requests. So if anybody comes onto my LinkedIn profile and land onto my activity page, they can clearly say that Khatija knows the LinkedIn craft. So what I'm doing, I'm selling myself to my audience even before they're connecting with me. So that's exactly what Canadian employers do. They land onto your profile, and that's when you can impress them to connect with you. So you can literally up your game in comparison to other people who might have applied for the same job. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, this is the third step. Now your LinkedIn home is ready, your content is ready, which is expressing your thought leadership. Now you connect with right industry specific people. When you connect with right industry specific people, not only connect, but nurture relationship, because online trust building takes time. It will take time for them to know you. It will take time for them to like you, and it will take time for them to trust you. And an online journey takes at least 3 to 4 days. So you literally following that person's digital footprint and interacting with them whenever they are coming on LinkedIn. So if you are in trusted network of one industry specific people, you're opening from that one industry specific person, you can leverage his or her earn trust to get introduction to his first degree connection, to his second degree connection, and of course his first and second degree connection will be from the same space. So you're leveraging probably 50 people from that one person that you connect and nurture relationship with online. So if you follow these 3-step process, and exactly you follow in these stackable steps, because if you start networking without cleaning up your LinkedIn home, they will ultimately come onto your LinkedIn home to have an impression. So do this exactly in 3 steps to have the right impression at the right way in front of right people, so that you can leverage their network to come in front of right industry specific opportunities and even earn referral. I have clients in my LinkedIn bootcamp who earned referral and they were able to get jobs within 3 months during COVID. So follow these 3 steps and definitely you will be successful. Can we have next slide, please? That is it from my side. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm really very active on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. I think so there is a little bit of typo formatting. So you can connect with me. My name is Khatija Qureshi. Just Google my name and I am there everywhere. And also I offer, I run my own LinkedIn Academy. You can reach out to me if you want to inquire more about that. So that is it from my side. You can throw the questions to me.
Thank you so much, Khadija. That was very nicely done and well packaged within half an hour.
Yeah.
So we do have some questions already, and everyone, if you haven't yet, please take a look at the Q&A tab and type your questions in.
Sonia, I'll just request one thing, if you can put the first slide so that they can see my name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
this?
now it is coming. Yeah, now it is
Yeah,
coming. Yeah.
I forgot to click twice. Okay, awesome. Um, okay, so the first question here is, okay, so there's a slight difference between impress and impact. When you say leave an impact, don't you think it is better to be an impressive impact?
Okay, can you give me 1 minute? I have to close my door. My son is getting a little bit
Sure,
loud
yes,
here.
no
Okay.
worries. Very interesting question, Yosra. So when she comes back, we will answer. There she is.
Okay. Okay, that's a great question, and that usually pops up when I talk about impression versus impact. Basically, the whole idea, whoever asked that question, was that don't fall into the trap of impressing people, because again it comes to the mindset part. When you're telling your mindset that you are impressing people, by default you get into that influencing marketing zone, that you have to earn numbers, you have to earn this much of likes, and basically you literally get into that trap. Unconsciously you get into that trap that you would be like, okay, people are not liking my post, people there, it will become a number game basically. So the idea of using impact over impression was just that you don't fall into number games. So of course, impact for me is much more powerful than just a number impression games. So impact for me is something that you are leaving people are remembering you for something. So of course, impress, you can use impression there as well. But the whole idea of my using the impression was that you don't fall into number games. So that was the idea. So you can, yes, you can have an impressive impact, but don't fall into the number game. That the use of impression was just that.
Thank you, Khadija. Next question here is sharing content valuable as well? Like if you see an article that you like and you share it?
Okay, so basically when it comes to content creation, basically the 3 steps which I explains, I have just talked about it as a tip of the iceberg. Each step is a world in itself. So you can join my LinkedIn, and there are some recorded previous webinar that ACCES has, and then of course you can DM me about more deep diving. When it comes to the second phase, which is content creation, and one of the questions that you are asking me, it's one of the things that I cover as well. When you are creating content post, what I called 80-20 rule. 80% is that you should originally create content, because ultimately you want to impress people that you have the knowledge. Of course, 20% can be what we call curated content, or somebody else's content which you reshare. So use the 80-20 ratio, that majority 80% of your posts are your originally created, which talks about your expertise and your viewpoints and your perspectives, because ultimately your goal is to sell your audience, and for your audience to remember you as whatever the dream job title you are targeting. And of course you can reshare content, but that should be only 20%. And when you're resharing, make sure that you don't just reshare. Always write the text of what interesting perspective you liked from that reshared blog, or what one new fun thing that you can add to it. So always write some unique perspective to that even reshared content, because again, you want to come out as someone who is a thoughtful professional, rather than who just bags upon somebody else's content. So that will be my advice on that.
Thank you so much. Here's another question. When we apply for jobs, we often customize our resume, but our LinkedIn profile is much more detailed and sometimes different from the resume. Will the recruiter get confused when they cross-check the resume and LinkedIn profile?
Okay. First thing is that that your resume is not your LinkedIn profile, and your LinkedIn profile is not your resume. These are two different things. So first of all, I was like, I'll clear this out. Now, when I talk about resume is highly customized to that one job title and one employer. When we're talking about LinkedIn profile is basically a sweet spot that you are trying to do professional storytelling to impress, let's say, five companies that your ideal companies, and 10 LinkedIn humans from those ideal companies. So basically, LinkedIn profile is a sweet spot. Again, it is coming out from your research of which companies and job titles all, but it's a sweet spot that speaks to those 10 LinkedIn humans from those five ideal companies. So what you write on LinkedIn will not be a copy paste of your resume. So just a heads up there. Again, this is a big mistake that newcomers make, that they just copy paste the resume and then they just put it on their profile. So what I'm trying to say, identify the sweet spot of technical skills, top three technical skills and top three soft skill, which, let's say, five job descriptions from those five companies are saying, and then do the professional storytelling of that sweet spot on LinkedIn profile. So when you are doing that, you are not contradicting with your customized resume, because again, it is extra this this sweet spot is extracted from these job titles. So but it is really very important that in work experience section, and I remember one recruiter specifically talking about that we match the time period, what you write on your resume and what you write in your work experience, we do match that, and that needs to be incoherent. That is the only thing that you need to be mindful of, the time period of work experience. But of course, if you are doing your LinkedIn profile, work with the sweet spot, which is the top three technical skills and top three soft skill, which will be speaking to all employers that you are targeting and all LinkedIn humans. So I hope I have answered that.
Thank you. Next question here is, how should we handle ghosting on LinkedIn? What are the, that's a good
Oh,
question.
I love this. You know what, Sonia? I just did a ghosting post on Halloween Day, one
Awesome.
and a half
Can
weeks back.
can you also just explain the term just in case people are
Sure,
not
sure,
familiar
sure.
with it?
Sure. So I did, just all of you can always go back to my LinkedIn profile, and I have highlighted that in my featured us section. So basically, what ghosting is, um, uh, in normal layman term, if you do not hear back from someone, so in the word and meaning of vocabulary, it means when somebody, you don't hear back from someone. So, like for example, my friend ghosted me, so I'm sending her messages, but she's not replying back. So that she's ghosting on me. So this term is used popularly in recruitment and job seeking world as well, that sometimes recruiter ghosts applicants and sometimes applicant ghost recruiters. So it goes either way. So if your question is about recruiters ghosting you, Sonia, just can you repeat the question, please?
How do you deal with ghosting on LinkedIn? Or how do you
Ghosting.
handle it?
Okay, so what I'm understanding, that you're writing to someone and
Yeah, probably.
you're not hearing back from them. So it's one
Yeah.
of the biggest LinkedIn ignorance, rejection, it's rejection thing, that you don't hear back from people. So again, going back to the basics, you probably are not approaching that Canadian professional or whoever you're targeting with the right mindset, which I said value mindset. You are not approaching that connection with the right communication, which is a major gap. As newcomers to Canada, we need to beef it. What is the Canadian communication? You are not approaching that person with the right intent, like networking on LinkedIn. I call it LinkedIn networking, or you can say LinkedIn befriending. It's not easy. You have to give before you receive anything back. So probably your approach is not right, your intent is not right, because your intent affect the words that you pick up. Your Canadian communication that you're approaching that person is not right, and probably you're not simply falling in the interest set of that person. So these can be the potential reason why the other person is ghosting you. Believe you me, people in Canada, they don't ghost you until and unless they have a valid reason, that you're not able to impress them, or you offended them, or you tick them off on simple things. And that is why I hear this a lot, that newcomers to Canada, job seekers, use this term a lot, that the connection ghost us. So one thing is that that work on these gaps. Second thing is, again, going back to the mindset pass, when it comes to networking for your job search, don't take it personally. If somebody is not replying back to you, he or she might be simply busy with his or her life goals, and right now things are so uncertain. He or she might be super busy with other priorities in life, so he is not obliged to reply back to you. That's why I say, when it comes to LinkedIn networking, always keep your pipeline filled up. Don't put all your eggs in with just one connection. For example, if you want to connect with industry specific people, make a list of 10 people that you want to connect with, rather than just connect with just one person. So so that and from my experience, the probability rate is that out of 10 people that you're applying, connecting with, 2 to 3 people will reply back to you. So that was the mindset part. Don't take ghosting personally. It is a part of the process. Keep your pipeline filled up, and people will reply back to you. And don't take ghosting personally. Nobody here is doing it intentionally with you.
Thank you. Next question is, how do you start a conversation with a recruiter or somebody in your field?
Okay, basic rule of a starting conversation on LinkedIn. I can only talk about LinkedIn over here. Personally, it's little different on calls, cold calls, it's different. On LinkedIn, it's about written communication, because they cannot see you. The only way they can see you is through your picture and through your basically LinkedIn activity. And believe you me, your LinkedIn picture and your LinkedIn activity speaks a lot about you. So how you can approach LinkedIn recruiter is definitely through creating a personable LinkedIn brand. Basically, you need to breathe life into your LinkedIn profile. So first of all, my again advice would be, follow those 3 steps. And the third step, the last thing, is what communication you are writing. So before reaching to that point of communication, make sure that if they fall onto your profile, they feel personable enough to connect with you. Okay. So that is the first thing. Follow the 3-step process. The last thing that I'll advise you to do is send out a customized connection request. And I use a formula that really increases the probability of the other person connecting with you. For example, if your audience is a recruiter or a hiring manager, first of all, remember, recruiter gets probably 100 of messages a day. They vet, and I was talking to a recruiter, they literally vet and talk to like 25 to 50 people in a day. So they might not remember you. You have to make an extra effort for them to remember you. So that is just an information I'll give to you, that recruiters are interacting with a lot of people on per day basis. So when you're connecting with recruiter, keep that in mind. So how you can stand out, again, a connection request. In the connection request, your first sentence should always be about association. Don't talk about professional. First sentence, how you can associate and connect with them. Talk about professional compliment. Talk about any mutual professional interest that you have. Talk about any part of their professional experience that you got impressed with. In short, if you want to connect at a human to human level, talk about their story. it should be all about them. So that should be the first statement. Create association through some professional storytelling, commonality, or some part of their story. Second sentence should be very, very clear why you want to connect. And this is one thing I say to newcomers to Canada: always introduce yourself as an emerging professional in this space. Don't introduce yourself as newcomers to Canada, because from my experience, I feel that there can be some judgments or unconscious bias. Nobody intentionally do this, but there can be some unconscious bias. Always introduce yourself as an emerging professional in a specific field and show your enthusiasm of learning from their career path, on learning from their experiencing. So when you are very clear in your second sentence why you want to connect without an ask, remember, you are not asking here, it's all about them. And your last statement should be about salutation. I look forward from learning from you, connecting with you, like that. So use this formula of these three things, and I'm sure you will have a higher rate of connection request acceptance. All the best.
Thank you so much. Next question here is, do certifications have an impact on your profile? Like, should you be listing all the certifications you have? Should you like leave some out? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, now this question can be better answered by a career coach, because again, these are might be new terms for newcomers to Canada. I'm a LinkedIn trainer, so you can talk to me about LinkedIn features and how to do LinkedIn branding as a job seeker and how to impress your audience. Career coaches basically guide you specifically on all the job search tool, whether it be resume, whether it be your interviewing techniques, all of that. But what I hear, like from my experience, because I have network of recruiters, friend and career coaches, what they say in this specific scenario: certifications do help. They add credibility, they add trust, to be perceived as a thought leader in a specific field. And specifically here in Canada, there are specific local certifications for each and every space. Like for example, in HR there is CHRP, and there are plethora of others. So again, going back to the basic, do your job descriptions research really well, because sometimes recruiters are looking for keywords, and certifications are a requirement for those job titles. So if you feel in your job description research that certification can make you stand out or even fall in the LinkedIn search, um, please go and put it in your tagline, in your summary, in your work experience. And even LinkedIn offers a section where you can put up your certifications, licenses. So put it at the right places, so that you come in front of right recruiters in LinkedIn searches, and you're able to sell yourself based on that requirement. So again, do your basics, and beef up your profile based on that basics. Again, coming back to the recruitment part, certifications are not a must, what I hear from career coaches. But if it's a requirement of a job description, recruiters will prefer people with those certifications first.
Um, so as a new immigrant, people are saying that maybe people are hiring more junior international employees rather than more senior ones. So in that case, should they be omitting some stuff on their resume and LinkedIn so that it looks like they don't have a lot of experience?
Okay, I'm basically trying to understand the question. I think the question is related to if you are a senior executive and if you're applying for a junior level job. Is that the question?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, okay. So basically, this is the question of overqualification. What is overqualification? That if you are an executive level, C-suite level, and you have 15 years of experience, and then as a newcomer to Canada, you hear these advices: start from scratch, start at entry level. So how you should approach that? So Again, this can be better answered by a career coach or a recruiter. Again, what I hear from career coaches and recruiter is that you go back to the drawing board, what level you are targeting. Again, doing that research and a little bit of self reflection, what you're bringing on the table, what your goal is. If your goal is entry level job, of course, you don't want to give an impression to an employer that you will leave after 6 months, because if you are a 15, like if the job is entry level job and they're looking for 3 years of experience and you're writing in your resume 15 years of experience, that sends signal to an employer that okay, he will join the job but he would be less motivated and he will immediately ask for increase for pay, or for an increment in terms of promotions, or he might leave for a better job, that he is just hopping onto our opportunity to gain experience. So that are the signals that you send when you are not matching with the job description. So again, going back to the drawing board, try to customize your resume to the requirement of the job description. And if it requires you to let's say if they are saying 3 years of experience, so you can write 3+ years of experience. So you are not saying something wrong, you are revealing it, but it is based on the requirements of the job description. But again, do your own soul searching, that are you using this job to hop on to something better? Of course we want to, but make sure that you are selling yourself in the right manner, sending the right impression. That is maximum I can say about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is on your LinkedIn, when you're putting in your job position, do you have to put experience on there, or can you just put the position and duration and just leave it at that?
Okay, so there are two aspects to it. First of all, that your LinkedIn profile needs to come in LinkedIn searches, because here in Canada, recruiters use what is known as LinkedIn recruiters, and it is basically a back-end tool which recruiters have, and they use keywords, and they just put in keywords and profile lands, different profile lands. So if you want to come in the right LinkedIn searches, you need to be friends with LinkedIn algorithm, and LinkedIn algorithm is based on keyword density. And what is keyword density? That what are the keywords, how many times that keyword is used in your LinkedIn profile. So first thing is that you want to come in the right LinkedIn searches. So don't force fit keywords, but put it wherever you can do it smartly. And I'm kind of lost. What was the question? Sorry.
Is it okay to just put positions and duration and not talk about experience?
Okay, so that is okay. So to come in the LinkedIn searches, you need to write some words in each of your work experience sections. So use that again, I'll call that real estate, that description section of work experience, where you infuse in keywords to come in front of right LinkedIn searches. It increases your keyword density and you can come in front of right LinkedIn searches. So don't underutilize that. That is first thing. The first part, that you come in right LinkedIn searches. Second is that recruiters, when the LinkedIn human falls onto your LinkedIn profile, they would love to know what is your relevant section, what is your relevant experience. So for example, if I'm just writing the date and social media strategist, that wouldn't sell me. He would want to know, like for example, in the bullet point of the job description, it is written that you need to be an expert in Facebook analytics. So he would definitely go and click onto that work experience section and see what analytic experience do I have. So if I'm writing an accomplishment statement that I achieved 70% increase in engagement by analyzing Facebook analytics and updating content based on that, there I'm selling myself. So what I'm trying to say, use the description of work experience to come in right LinkedIn searches, searches and to impress LinkedIn employers, because here recruiters are looking for quantified accomplishment statement, which matches with the job description. So it's really very important that you do write accomplishment statement in each of your work experience section. And please don't copy paste it from your resume. As I said, identify top 3 technical skills, top 3 soft skills, and then infuse that in your LinkedIn profile, because again, you're speaking to 3 ideal companies that you're targeting.
Thank you. Next question here is gaps. So gaps between jobs. So like, let's say you have a long maternity gap and then you move to Canada. What do you do about those gaps? Does it look okay? Should you try to fill something in there?
Okay, so again, going back to the drawing board, as a newcomer to Canada, just side information, maternity gaps are legally acceptable, legally and culturally acceptable. So there is always a perception when we are hailing from, like, I come from South Asia. So whenever I was applying for jobs there, it was perceived and usually taken negatively as a gap. Here in Canada, there is nothing of that sort. So when you're applying, maternity gaps are culturally accepted. But having said that, if you have used that gap, usually here the gap is 1 year. So if you have done something likable, or which shows that you have grown as a professional. So some of the things which are highly likable by employers over here during this transition period, if you have done any form of learning, like for example, you have learned a new language, or if you have learned a new skill set. So for example, if you used Udemy or Skillshare or Coursera, and you enrolled in any courses and you have up leveled your skill, talk about that. So any type of learning you have done, or any kind of consultancy or project work that you have done independently, you can do your own project. Like for example, you can say that I started a podcast, I started writing blogs. So anything related to through some consultation work or project work is highly likable by Canadian employers here. If you're talking about transitional gaps, apart from that, if you are doing consultancy work, like I can talk about myself. When I came to here in Canada, I took 6 months, and during that time I was in a bridging program. Over and above, I was consulting my own family and friends who were here. So if you have done any kind of small project consultancy work, that is also well liked by here in by Canadian employer during this transitionary gap. So maternity leave, yes, culturally accepted, but if you have done any of these 3 things, learning, any project work, or any kind of consultancy work, reflect that you were active professionally in these mannerisms. So I hope, and I hope it was understandable.
Thank you so much, Khatija. This does bring us to the end of our webinar here today. You've answered a lot of questions, and everyone, if you would like to connect with Khatija, you can see all her contact information on the screen. Please feel free to connect with her. And if you didn't get your questions answered, you know where to go. I still have everything on the screen. You can connect with her in lots of different ways. And I'm just going to go over what to expect next. So our next webinar coming up is this Friday, November 13th. Yep, Friday the 13th. And it's by Richa, and she's going to be talking about top trends in the accounting field. So just like you signed up for this webinar today, you can do that for that as well. And I just want to repeat myself saying all of our bridging programs are currently being held online. So if you are interested in our bridging programs, you don't have to come in to the office. You don't have to commute. I'm sure Khadija knows the struggle, you know, especially in the winter time, if you have to take like 3 or 4 buses to get there. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home, nice and cozy. So sign up for those. and check out our website. You can also check out our e-access page, which has all of our e-resources for you. We also have a Talk English Cafe offered 4 to 5 times a week. Check that out as well. You can practice your English conversation skills over there. And then again, you can call your closest access location and an employment consultant can start helping you with your job search. If you are still outside of Canada, you have your PR and you're moving here in a few months, email cec@accessemployment.ca to see if you are eligible for a pre-arrival program and they can start helping you with your job search before you arrive in Canada. And then again, thank you again for your participation today. There is a survey at the end of the webinar. Please do fill it out. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And Khatija, a very big thank you to you as well. Do you want to say anything before we sign off today?
Yes, I would. I always end on again I start and end with mindset. As newcomers to Canada, I just want to say it is a challenging journey, but take this as an opportunity to grow and learn and flexing your resiliency muscle. I am hearing a lot of newcomers to Canada getting jobs, so don't just depend on published job market. Tap the 80% of hidden job market, and that right now a lot of newcomers are tapping through LinkedIn by meeting the right people, by having informational interview with the right people. So don't just put all your eggs in the 20% of published job market. Connect with right industry specific people with the right approach to tap the 80% of the hidden job market. And every adversity will make you learn something new, so take that adversity with a growth mindset, and I'm sure you will pull this through. So all the best with your job search, and I look forward to connecting to all of you on LinkedIn. Bye. Thank you, Sonia,
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank
me.
you so much, Khatija, and thank you everyone for attending today. We'll see you maybe on our next webinar on Friday. Thank you. Have a great week.